The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I am Mon Gualvez. President Bongbong Marcos says the government is taking action on the case of the Malaya Lolas. In a statement, the president said that his government recognizes the atrocities endured by Filipinas during the Japanese occupation. However, President Marcos maintains the position that some reparations had been made. The president has instructed some agencies to address the concerns of the Malaya Lolas in response to the United Nations findings that the country failed to provide reparations for abused Filipino women during the Second World War. Recall that in March, a UN committee found that the country violated the rights of Malaya Lolas, saying it did not provide reparations and support for them. The UN called on the Philippines to provide compensation and issue an official apology to these women. President Marcos renews his calls for suspended Congressman Arnie Teves to come home and face allegations against him in the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo. The president says this is the best advice he can give the embattled lawmaker, especially after his request for asylum in Timor-Leste has been denied. The DOJ is also moving to cancel Teves's passport.
Come on. That's the best advice I can give him. Come on.
Marcos says he spoke with Timor-Leste's Prime Minister about the matter during their bilateral meeting this week. Marcos thanked the Prime Minister for acting quickly on Teves's application. Marcos says the denial of Teves's request for asylum will make it easier for Philippine authorities to bring the lawmaker back to the country.
I think they will continue to go through the process, may appeal process para sa those who are applying. Okay, but yeah, yun, not deny, so we'll just wait for the process to complete.
The Information and Technology Department is still studying the impact of artificial intelligence in Filipino industries. DICT Secretary Ivan Uy told the chiefs that AI is still in the early stages in the technology sector and that there's no indication yet of how it will affect jobs in the country.
Mostly, AI is still being discussed on the technology sector, but we predict that it will extend to more sectors. We're just starting to see AI being commercialized in some areas. The jury's still out as to how it will affect certain jobs or certain industries. And so we're still on the observation stage.
Meanwhile, Uy noted that the department lacks the necessary funding and manpower to beef up cybersecurity in the country. He said that while the Philippines' cybersecurity capability is considered average in Asia, the country still needs to build up its capacity, which would require additional funding.
We need to elevate our cybersecurity posture into a much higher category. Kulang po tayo ng ng support in terms of cybersecurity at kulang po tayo ng mga highly skilled cybersecurity professionals.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I am Mon Gualvez. In the United States, more and more companies are adopting gender-neutral policies on maternity and paternity leave. This Bloomberg Quick Take shows us how it works.
More companies are adopting gender-neutral policies when it comes to maternity and paternity leave. Of the biggest companies in the US, 9% now offer at least 12 weeks off for all new parents, no matter their gender or caregiving role. That's up from 6% a year earlier. Morgan Stanley and Pinterest are among the firms now offering at least 3 months off for all new parents. Another 16% of companies offer parity, but less than 12 weeks off. Expanding paid leave policies can increase equity among workers. When fathers take paid time off, for example, it supports moms in their paid work, driving up their labor force participation and wages. But still, at least in the US, many workers are shut out. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, 3 out of 4 private sector workers don't have access to paid family leave at all.
Here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. Agri Group Sinag warns that the country's white onion supply could last only until July. The group says the country needs to import at least 7,500 metric tons of white onions to ensure sufficient supply. Meanwhile, the Foreign Affairs Department insists on upholding the welfare and protection of Filipino migrant workers in its talk with Kuwait over visa suspension. The Kuwaiti government announced that it will suspend issuance of entry visas for Filipinos after the Philippines allegedly violated the labor agreement when it issued a deployment ban in February. And a new Miss Universe Philippines will be crowned today. The pageant will be hosted by Alden Richards and Sian Lim, to be joined by Miss Universe 2019, Zozibini Tunzi. The event will be held at the MOA Arena later at 6 p.m. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 10:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I am Mon Gualvez. We are One News.